Hi there, my name's Bria Sanborn, and my sister Serena.
You.
Hi there, my name's Bria Sanborn. My sister Serena asked me to talk a little bit about collage, which is the art of putting a lot of different images or things together and making a new image. It's a art form I really enjoy doing, and it's also Waterville Create's newest art kit project.
So I've gone through the magazine included in the art kit. A lot of great images there, a lot of great colors, and I just tore out things that that caught my eye. So it's easier to cut them out when they're not attached, in the book. You can find images anywhere. I tend to use a lot of things from National Geographic or science magazines, but you can find them anywhere and cheaply. Even just garden catalogs, and you can also just find that stuff even at the dump or at a junk shop. Yeah, collage is really can be such a really inexpensive art. So I've cut out a few images that I like, and I'll be trimming them down. And I can tell already that the challenge for me is going to be able to choose what to put on this canvas. Used to working with a bigger canvas, so I think that's going to be neat. It's going to be neat because I'm going to have to really choose which pieces that go on there. So I'm playing around with it. I like these two holding hands, but I feel like the only thing that's connecting them is their hands. Like neither one is really reacting to the other. I like the way the question marks on this kind of bring your eye down. I'll keep playing with it. So, I think I'm getting there. This is a little like playing with paper dolls. I wanted to show you a little bit about what I was talking about making the edges disappear. See that white there? I'm just going to rub it right along this marker. I'm just doing it to disappear the edge, but it might be fun to do with a different color, like a blue or a purple. Also, this flower I've pretty well deconstructed here because I'm liking the way that these things are like some part is in front and some is in back. And then I cut these guys into a little bit more of an interesting shape and more like a petal. So the whole thing might come together a little like this. So if you find that you enjoy making collages, here's a few tools that can help you. An X-Acto knife for some real precision cutting. Sometimes you can get into like little, tighter corners easier with an X-Acto knife than with scissors. And this is a cutting board that you can, use. So when you're cutting with your X-Acto knife, you're not cutting and gouging up your desk or whatever. It's got a handy grid here. It helps when you want to make a nice straight, even cut, as does this T-square, as does this ruler. This is a spray glue. It's a little bit more expensive, say $25 or $30, but it's handy. You can really just spray it on, and then you have a little bit of time to be able to place the images. It doesn't dry like right that minute. Obviously, you want to be careful with this kind of stuff. You want your room ventilated, no open flames. But yeah, all these are really handy. I think I got all of them at Barry Stationers in Waterville. Here's an image you may be familiar with. It's a fairly famous image. It was a poster for a cabaret in Paris in 1896. And I just love this image. I just think it's just so gorgeous. All these lines. I think it's beautiful. So I tried to recreate that in collage. And when you're recreating an image, it's super handy to make sure that you have the same proportions as the original piece. And what I did with this is I had photocopied this in black and white, a little bit bigger. And then I made a grid on the whole thing, just in pencil. And then this was, this is on a black foam core, and I had a white colored pencil. And I made the same proportioned grid. And so then obviously I can look at, okay, what's in this section of the grid, and then try to match it up with what's going on in here. And I had, so when you do this, you do want to, you want to double and triple check your work from the beginning, because then it becomes your map. And I had done a mock-up of this earlier, and then went to move it onto the grid, and I thought the grid was wrong because it wasn't matching up. And really it was that my original collage was off. This area was truncated, this chest was a lot, thinner, had a different kind of slope to it. Get right in here. I kind of think there's a shark's tail, another shark. I like the fish images within the cat because it kind of makes me think, that's what the cat had for dinner. So if you do get into collage, you're going to want to find a way to protect your work, because, these edges and things can flap up, or, despite your best efforts, you might have a little bit of dried glue that attracts dust, and it eventually gets a little dingy. So you can protect it with, put it under glass, or in this case, it's under this sort of heat shrink wrapped plastic. And I got that done at the frame makers. And it just seals everything in, and this way I can't, get my fingers under there and make it flap up or anything like that. So now I'm getting close, and it's time to start gluing some things down that I'm sure about. And I'm going to start with the lowest level. And I have just completely deconstructed this flower. I've even reversed the petals because I realized I was being sort of dictated by the shape of that flower and wanting it to fill the space. So I'm gonna just get rid of this here, and then I'm gonna start putting in, more like a blue color here and a pink color there, so that background is filled out. So the first layer is going to go down. And, you're probably familiar with a glue stick. Start from the inside out to the edge of the image so you're not, rumpling it. You want a nice, a space separate from your art, so you don't get things, sticky or messy accidentally, This I did many years ago. It won Best in Show in a juried art show that was put on by the Waterville Area Art Society, which I was just blown away by because there was a lot of really wonderful pieces in that show. As you may know, Central Maine and Maine in general, we have a ton of really talented artists. So years before this, I had done a much smaller piece that one part of it was a black and white picture of Tina Turner in the 60s dancing. And part of her is in the light and part of her is in the dark. And it's a gorgeous picture. And she's wearing this beautiful sequined dress with the fringes that are just going everywhere. And to that image, I attached these beautiful octopus tentacles. And then added a few sea water elements, and she ended up looking like a sea goddess. So that was fun. And it made me start thinking about creating these sort of gods and goddesses or mythical beings, like a centaur or something, just adding a few elements together and creating something new, which is what collage is. Where I started was this image just really grabbed me. This, I believe, was from a Life magazine from the 70s. It's a little boy and coming through a waterfall in a park. And I just think it's so beautiful. And to that I added these, I don't know, there's like fur and leaves in here. He's kind of floating. And I pricked out the parts that I wanted people to see more with some silver marker. And these are some octopus tentacles here. This was from an advertisement for a camera. It's the front of a camera. And there's some sun there in the back. And I try to connect, these lines to kind of create it as a whole. I usually, in fact, I always don't know what the piece is going to look like at the end. I just find images that I really like and start messing around with them, and then it becomes something new. I'm using another artist's work, another photographer's work. So I just want to be sensitive about that, thoughtful about it. But anyway, yeah, when you're using these images, especially if you want to sell your work, just know that, you have to feel that you've created something that is an original work. So I think it'd be really interesting to see what everybody comes up with using the same magazine that's included in the art kit. One way to think about art and the viewer is almost like the longer the viewer takes to look at this, to look at your art, the better, because you're really drawing them in. Heard this artist talking about the power of two, meaning that when there's two people on an image, and obviously there's more than two on this, but these two really stand out. These guys are background. When there's two people or two really similar images, the viewer is really inclined to find a relationship between the two. Are they friends, enemies? Do they know each other? Are they ignoring each other? And so I didn't want to create an adversarial mood between these two. So I had to find a way to connect them, to put her in, and make her look more part of the celebration. I don't know if it completely works. She definitely doesn't look celebratory like the others, but she doesn't look like she's against them either. And I'm kind of trying to honor her a little bit more by having this in front of her. She also now has more of a goddess look to her. I'd call this successful because I enjoy the image. I did have to make a lot of kind of tough calls about what to see and what not to see. Made changes here and there along the way. All right, well, I really appreciated doing this. Thank you, Serena and Waterville Creates. It was a fun project. Yeah, I hope to see what other people come up with.